Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to our live webinar of eIMMIGRATION. My name is Vanessa. Today we have a basic training for new users. So welcome. I hope that you learned something new today. That's the idea. This is your training, so go ahead and ask questions. We have a chat where you can chat me your questions. We also have a PowerPoint presentation that you can download if you click on handouts. This is being recorded, so don't feel pressured to take notes or do it at the same time. Sorry, at the same time as me, because I will confuse you. You can watch the video later. You can always reach out for help, and definitely download the PowerPoint because it has links that you can use. All right, so let's begin. As I said, today is a basic training for new users. If you're not new and you have questions, that's fine. Just message me and I'll answer them. You just go to the chat and send your question. But as I said, because this is a basic training for new users, we're gonna talk about the basic steps: how to create a contact profile, how to link members and why, and how to create cases. I'm also gonna cover how to create reminders and what is the alternate view, how to send questionnaires and how the data auto-populates forms, and what is a tickler and how you can customize it. After that, I'll go over resources and support. But as I said, if you have any questions, even if it's not related or not basic, I'll be more than happy to assist you. So just message me. Okay, let me switch gears and access my caseworker portal. I have the caseworker portal, by the way, opened, and at the same time, under my settings where it says administrative tools, I right click and open my link in a new tab. I like to have the admin side, the admin portal side by side, because there are things that you must customize, especially if you're new. And if you haven't done it, this is a good reminder that you need to go into your admin account and customize the departments and the users, your case processes, etc. If you have questions about the admin, we're doing a training, a webinar next Friday on the administrator portal. Okay. All right. So caseworker. Let me switch back. Caseworker portal. Basic. This is a basic training. Step number 1. You want to create a contact. You want to create a contact because this is where we enter the information in a contact profile. Even if it's not your client, you want to create an account, let's say for a prospect or the family member of an active client. Today I talked to a client. I was telling him, maybe you don't want to auto-generate a number because they're not clients, but you still create a contact for them. Okay. So when you create a contact, this is how it looks like. Let me open one. And let me close all these alerts. Okay. This is an example of a contact profile. This is not the same as a case profile. So just keep that in mind. The system has these two platforms or levels. One is the contact profile where you enter all the information. It is not the same as having an actual matter or process where I can access the forms and everything else. So that's different. One person, like Valeria, can have different matters, an adjustment, an EB5 or H1B. So I can have different processes for the same person. And this contact profile has all the details that I've captured so far. You're going to have two types of clients: your tech-savvy ones and those who are not tech-savvy. So let's go over that. When you create an account for someone who's not tech-savvy and you're the one who's entering the data manually, okay, you're going to type the information in all of these fields. But if you don't click Save Changes and you move to a different section, guess what? You're going to lose that information. And there's no warning, as you saw. So just be careful. If you enter information, let's say the correct maiden name was Gonzalez. Gonzalez. I save my changes. See, now I do have this confirmation. The resource was successfully added. Okay, now I can safely move to a different section without losing that data. Okay. So step number 1, Again, for clients who are not tech savvy and you're the one who's typing all the data, you can utilize this, all of these fields to enter the information, and then this information transfers to the forms, right? Once you create a case, or you can also utilize the alternate view. The alternate view on the right-hand side is where you can access these questionnaires. I'll go over this in a moment, but questionnaires that either the system provides or the ones that you can create allows you to open that intake form, look at the data, and make changes from here. If I correct something and I click save, let me pick a different one like general information for individual client. It's a good one. All right, so I can print it and give them the paper so they see the information. I may have the client on the line or in front of me, and I can just ask, is this correct? If they say no, my correct date of birth is September 9, 1989. Okay, so I save the changes right here, save. Again, you should get this green confirmation. It was saved successfully. That means that I can now close the form with no problem. And whatever I entered or modified is now here. It's reflected in the profile, which means that it will transfer to the forms. So whatever you guys prefer to do, if it's typing the information here on these fields or utilizing the alternate view, as long as you click save, that information stays in the system, the database, and it will transfer to the forms or reports or letters, whatever you want. Any questions, let me know, okay? So that's the client profile. Look also on the right-hand side where you can switch to different sections like other names she has used, biographic info, history of previous addresses, see, previous employments, marriages, everything is here. Education history. So I just have to enter this information one time only. I don't have to retype it over and over in every single form. So as long as I enter the information in all of these sections, when I create a case, it will transfer if applicable. Okay. There are, if you need to capture additional information, there are custom fields that you can create. Custom fields you create via the administrator portal. For example, I want to ask my prospects what best way to contact you. How do you hear about us? Is this the first time that you contact us? Blah, blah, blah. So I can ask additional questions and capture these so that I can either run a report, utilize the system as a CRM, and even transfer data to forms from these custom fields. But since this is a basic training, I'm not going to overwhelm you with too much information, but I just want you to know that it is possible. Okay. Step number 2, after I create the contact profile for my client, step number 2 is when I click on members and I will link her family members. She has children or spouse or parents that I need to connect to her account. So they transfer to the forms as well. Today, for example, a client had a question. He didn't know that when you send your clients a questionnaire, this was the relatives questionnaire. He sent his client a questionnaire for relatives information. Well, his client entered the family members. Once he accepted that questionnaire, the system created those accounts automatically. So that was a confusion for him. He thought he had to create them manually, but no. If you send someone a questionnaire, so the client enters their own family members, as soon as you click accept, the system will create an account for that contact and link them as their members. If you are doing this manually, you're going to click here, link member, search. Most likely you won't have them in the system yet. So click new contact and enter the information for the new contact, the daughter or the spouse or the parents. But notice here, I recommend that you don't give them a number because they're not your clients. So leave this blank. Only generate or designate a number for those who are actually clients. So that way you differentiate clients versus just contacts. You still need to create a contact for the family member and select the relationship, daughter, spouse, whatever the relationship is, and click link. Let me read a question. Give me 1 second. Someone's saying, I have a question. When I send the questionnaire to my client, do I have to send portal access first or no matter the order? You don't even have to send them access to the portal because we have something called passwordless link, but you do need to create access. Um, I'll show you right now. I'm gonna cover questionnaire, so you'll see what I mean. But no, they don't need to access the client portal. They can use the passwordless link. Okay, so going back to members, it's important that you link them because trust me, this is a lot easier than having to type the same information over and over and over again on different forms. Okay, you want to connect them as members. Once you connect them and you click on the name of the person, let's say the daughter, then I see her information. Each contact, see on the top, each tab belongs to a different contact. She's the 5-year-old daughter, and I have entered whatever information I need. She doesn't have a cell phone, come on. Anyways, but once you have the information, it will transfer to the forms. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. Okay, I'm reading a question regarding the questionnaire. So yeah, I'll go over that and issues when they can't log in. Thank you for sending the question. Let's see how many of you, I do want to ask, how many of you are actually new, like this is your first webinar probably? Let me know. Or this is just a refresher course for you. Okay, I have a poll in progress. Someone, okay, let me just close this. Interesting. The majority of you are actually not new users. Someone's raising his hand. I can't unmute you. So it's not the hand. Click on chat or questions. Si tiene pregunta, tiene que mandarme su pregunta por el chat. No puedo quitarle el mute. Veo que levanta la mano, pero I see you're raising your hand, but just send me your message so I can read your question. Let me message you. I'll put something like here. I will answer this soon. Okay, you should all get a message, and then that's where you can submit your questions. Okay, so let's continue. You should be able to see my screen again. Good. So step number 1, you create a contact. This is where you enter all the information. Enter as much as possible. Step number 2, link the members. We want to connect them so their data transfers as well. And step number 3, we want to create a case. So that's when we go here. On the right-hand side, it says cases. Here, cases. And I'm going to create the case. When you create the case, you're going to use this case wizard. Okay, I got your question. Hello, we bought the system last week. I'm very, very new. Yeah, welcome. I'm glad you did. Yeah, I'm gonna answer all your questions. So now you know, send me your questions through there. And thank you for choosing Cerenade. You're welcome. All right, so this is the case wizard. This is where we create an actual matter. It's not the same as creating the contact profile. So just know the difference. This is where you choose, okay, I'm in California, my office or my New York office, or you can split cases by different locations or different departments. All these drop-down menus can be customized. If you're new, if you haven't done this, my recommendation is that you customize from your admin your processes. All of these matters or processes that you see here on this drop-down menu can be modified. So let's say you don't do O1s or O1Bs or you don't do H2As. You can customize and you can reorganize, like maybe I want my adjustment of status all the way up, or I want to put the DACA case or I-90 and then over here. I don't know. So you can reorganize your processes or matters and disable the ones that you don't need. If I don't need an O1, I can disable. So you can make your own list. We have clients that utilize the system for other areas of practice, not just immigration, but that's something that you must modify from your administrator portal. Like I said, next week we have a training on this specifically. Okay. All right. So let me switch back and take you back to the caseworker portal. Let me refresh my screen. So I created a contact profile. I linked the members, and now I'm going to create case. This is where I select my location, and look, the process now has the adjustment of status all the way up. All of these drop-down menus can be customized, so you can have different options, programs, grants, different status or updates. Um, the category too, if it's family-based, employment, pro bono, whatever you guys want to add here, you can choose a different category, and then later run reports that are accurate. My information as the attorney will transfer to the forms because this box is checked and because my information is entered and the admin under users. When I click next, then I see the case parties. This is not the same thing as linking the family members. This is where you designate a role, such as who's the petitioner, who's the beneficiary, the plaintiff, defendant, depending on the situation, right? So if it's a family-based case, then you can choose petitioner. If it's employment-based case, then you choose employer, because that way you can select the branch and the signatory. That's the only difference between creating a family-based versus employment-based. Just choose employer. Now, for this example, it's an adjustment of status. She's the petitioner, and her husband, spouse, is the beneficiary. But instead of me choosing beneficiary, I recommend alien because the forms say alien info goes here. So might as well just pick alien so it goes there. And the rest of the parties, like uh, sorry, the parents, I don't have to choose any role, or children. I don't have to choose anything. Just leave them blank. I'm gonna click next. Looks like I have to choose like a type of program. And I have my forms checklist. This, remember, can be customized. We have clients that are not necessarily attorneys. They don't need the G28. You guys can remove that from default. And create. That's how you create a case. So let me know if you guys have any questions about the basic steps. Were those 3 basic steps clear to you? Just click on your screen to vote. Thank you. Los 3 pasos fueron claros: cómo crear un contacto, cómo crear un miembro y o cómo crear un caso. Por favor, darle clic en la encuesta. Just click on the poll in progress so that I know that I can move on. If it wasn't clear, I'll cover that based on the percentage. All right, so I've got more than 50% of the votes. I'll continue. So thank you so much. The majority of you say yes, thank you. If you guys have any specific questions, let me know. All right, so now that we created the case and we need to work with the forms, how do the forms auto-populate? Remember, once you create a case and you have the forms checklist, remember to click on the name of the person. See where it says main party and there's a hyperlink? You don't see that unless you move your mouse. So click to create or open, click to open the profile for the contact. Let me make sure you guys are seeing the same thing as me. Okay, this is a contact. I call it the brain of the system where I see everything. Okay, let's switch back to the other tab. Here, this is a case window. And let's open a form. Once I open a form, I'm inside the form. That's why I like to have the other tab open where I can switch back and forth. Okay, This message is basically saying she's the same thing as petitioner and spouse, and the regions are locked. Okay, here's the form. See how it says petitioner info goes here. She was linked as the petitioner, so her data transfers right away. If we look at page 5, we see that it says alien. So that's why I said choose alien, not beneficiary. So it transfers right away. So let's go over the form features and how the information auto-populates into the forms. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Remember, I am going to cover reminders and questionnaires and the rest of the content that we have, like Tickler. But please, if you have any questions, let me know. Send me your questions so I can help you. Okay, let's talk about forms and how they auto-populate. Each form, like this one, I-130, has the red button, Select Party. I can always refresh or update, replace information using that button, and I'm going to show you how that works. So this is the I-130 for Valeria and her husband, and everything that I have in her contact profile has transferred. Well, if I want to remove something, let's say I want to put my PO box number here, but I don't want to delete her mailing address, it's okay. So I can type information with no problem, stays only on this form. Okay, let me just save it. But if I do want to change something across multiple forms, let's say the date of birth, that's when I switch to the other tab and access the main database. Change it only one time. Turns out that she was born on March 1983. So I will save the changes and then go back to the form and refresh. Now I don't mean refreshing the browser. I mean refresh the form using the red button, this one. Select party. I'm selecting the first option because I want to replace, and I'm working with the petitioner, so I click on the petitioner's name. That's how you refresh the form. Look, let's go to page 2. Look, the date of birth has been updated, and it didn't delete my overridden fields. So just keep that in mind. Let me know if you guys have questions about this, if that was clear. Okay. Um, if you want to add a post-it, like a sticky note, you click here, this square, and then you move your mouse and click again. Maybe you want to enter a note, like question, like, please confirm your date of birth. I can leave the post-its or sticky notes for my staff, for myself, or even my clients to review. These post-its or sticky notes can be added anywhere. And when you are ready to print the form, you don't have to necessarily print the sticky notes. Okay? These are the, again, right here, sticky note, create a note. Second icon, it's a keyboard. It's called Type Anywhere. When you click and move your mouse and you click again, you're going to be able to type anywhere in the form. You can drag and drop it anywhere you want. Attorneys use it to enter text anywhere in the form instead of handwriting, or adding text on a field without creating the addendum. Okay, so that's the type anywhere. And remember, when you are ready to print the form, you don't have to necessarily print the sticky notes or the type anywheres. If you have exceeded the limit, oh, I forgot to say this, but if you make a mistake and you want to fix it, over here, yellow bar, it says restore, click here. So it's like your undo. If I change my mind and I made a mistake, I want to undo, that's it. Anytime that you overwrite, it turns blue, but again, you can restore. I was saying that if you have long text and it doesn't fit, the system is developed to shrink it and reduce the size of the font automatically, or you can click on this A to manually change the size of the font, and it's reduced. If I exceed the limit, the system creates the addendum. So the additional pages where you have, sorry, someone's saying, go sticky notes. This is the first time someone cheers the sticky notes. um, sorry. So I'm in the addendum page, and there's this red button that says edit additional entries. And I can, here, I can choose what to transfer, maybe not everything, just, I'll click save. And the system auto-populates that entry with the corresponding or not. Hold on a second, let me see what's going on. Edit, save. I'll report this because it's supposed to, oh no, this is our testing site, so they're probably working on this, but it's supposed to auto-populate the additional entries. Let me try again. It's weird. Yeah, I'll report this, but it should be populating the page number, part, item number with all the details. Oh, oh, they're right here. Duh, no wonder. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't see them. They were on page 12. Yeah, they did auto-populate. Okay, let me go back. Um, Someone asked me today, what is this for? It looks like a magic wand. So click on that form data edit icon and replace blank spaces with NA and click replace. And it goes throughout the form and it replaces. Big fan. Good. I'm glad. It's actually pretty convenient. I mean, these sticky notes, it's like a reminder for yourself, or again, a message to the client if sharing the form so they can see any observations or comments. But yeah, I also like these. And you can customize the color, the font, the size of the sticky notes. All right, so let's save the form. Let me know if you guys have any questions about how the forms auto-populate. It should be straightforward, but as long as you understand, okay, if I create a case and I have a petitioner and I picked a beneficiary and nothing transfers, it's most likely because the form is expecting alien info. Or if I overwrite something, that's the reason why it turns blue. And again, now I know how to overwrite or cancel restore. Okay, so again, if you have any questions about the forms and how they auto-populate, let me know. I'm gonna read a question to see if it's related. It says, when an attorney creates one profile for a client and a paralegal creates a separate profile for the same client, let me stop right there. The paralegal should have read the warning. So if I create a contact for Valeria, what's her name? Smithley Marie, this warning, there's a potential duplicate contact. So talk to your team, let them know that when you create, I mean, maybe they enter a different last name, or she didn't enter the middle name. I don't know. It could happen. But let me continue reading the question. It says, the paralegal then sends the questionnaire to the client. Later, the attorney realizes the mistake of having duplicate profiles and deletes one of them. Oh, okay. Let me stop right there. Okay. If that ever happens to you guys, let me show you. You go to search existing contacts. I'm just going to use a very simple one like John Smith. This is our testing size, so we have tons. Um, I don't know if it was John Kennedy or John Cena. So what I'm going to do is load more data at the same time, both of them. So I can compare. This was created in 2015. I mean, obviously this is a different person. My point is, talk to the attorney, tell him or tell her not to delete any profiles until they confirm. If I know, maybe I should have done, let's say, okay, this is better. Once I confirm which John Smith I need to delete, I'm going to click on that profile and label it like this. I'm going to put something like John duplicate. The reason why I suggest this is because the paralegal could have sent, let me do it one more time, John Smith. Okay, if I choose to load more data for this duplicate, and then I see, let me try one more, this one. Excuse me, one more. Trying to find, see, none of these profiles, these two below, have cases created. The one on March 15, the one on June 27, they don't have any cases. No members have been linked. Whereas this one on August 21st, I do have a case. So my recommendation is check which one out of all these three, if you go to the document section, has these questionnaires that the paralegal hasn't. Like this one doesn't have any. So in other words, don't delete the wrong profile. So label it before. Yeah, because the rest of your question says, how can the attorney or paralegal retrieve the completed questionnaires from the client of the profile deleted? You have to contact Cerenade. Let them know, and especially if this happened soon. I mean, don't wait too long because they only have a window of like 3 or 5 days. If you wait too long, the data is gone. So if this happened recently, I suggest that you contact Cerenade over here. Go to help, go here, technical support. Let them know, hey, we deleted the wrong profile. Can you recover it? And then maybe you want to contact us so that we can connect to your screen and help you. But yeah, thank you for your question. All right, so let's continue. We so far have talked about creating a contact profile, entering data, how the members are linked, and the importance of linking the members and how their data also auto-populates the forms, right? The children or spouse or parents. And then I went over how to create a case and how the forms auto-populate. That same shortcut that I just mentioned about, it's right here. You guys, if you want to save time, you can just go load more data and go straight to a form or straight to any of these sections for that specific case. How do I create a reminder? On the right-hand side, I have reminders for the case or the contact, okay? If I go to the case window, then I create that reminder at the case window. This is a contact profile, and I can create or add a reminder right here. These reminders have different categories. It's not just a task or a deadline. You want to be more specific. This is related to RFE. I have a court hearing, so be specific. How do I customize this drop-down menu from your admin portal under types? So let's say we do have a court hearing, and that's due on July 1st. But I want to send a notification via email and text message, maybe around June 6th, and send that at 12. Who's responsible for that court hearing? So I'm going to choose the person responsible, me, and I want to include my client and maybe her husband or my paralegal or anyone who should be part of the notification. So I'll select my client and her husband. As long as they have a cell phone, then it works, and send them an email as well. So it's me and my assistant and my client and her husband. So they get an email as well. Now, I don't want to type the message. Dear client, here's a reminder for the court hearing. You guys can create your templates. So email templates, cover letters, any document that auto-populates. I think I have one reminder, like appointment reminder with letterhead, and I can have the date and the name or any other detail populate here. Okay, so let's just create that reminder. Give me 1 second. Someone says, I have a question. Do tracking notifications can only be sent to an email or can it also be sent as a text message? The tracking, do you mean the USCIS, I assume? Then the answer is no, only emails. The USCIS times tracker, when you enter the receipt notice, it goes to your email for now. Yeah. Next question says, for new users, do you have any personal training as one-to-one, please? Yes, we do. We offer private training sessions. The fee is 100 per hour, but check with your sales rep. Um, they can either give you private training or offer you a courtesy training based on your account, and it varies. So just check with your sales rep. Let them know you are interested in a personal training. And by the way, whoever is your trainer, ask them to record the training. I try to record the session because there's a lot of information, so you can always watch the video or share with your staff. Okay, let me know if you guys have questions on how to create reminders. Those reminders are tracked or kept in your Tickler. Not just the reminders, but the reminders for, or like steps, the tasks, or expiration dates for a document. I want to know how many passports or I-94s, RFEs, EADs, any document that has an expiration date, I can track it via this tickler. This is your general dashboard. This tickler shows, and if you guys want, you can customize these time frames, not just 30, 60, 90 days. This one has show me what's in the next 1 or 2 days, or 3 to 10, or 31 to, you can see what's the actual task or reminder about, who's responsible, and when is this due. Okay, so this is your tickler, which not only shows your own data, but also click here to show data for all your case workers. And again, if you want to customize your tickler, you can click on your settings, then go to user preferences and change your tickler. This is where you can change the settings and modify the time frames. You can modify the layout, so it's your own version of the tickler. Okay, let me know if you guys have questions. Let's cover questionnaires. Okay, um, so we talked about when you have a client. Let's go over that. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna open a profile. In the meantime, let me know if you guys have any questions at this point. This allows me to know if you are paying attention. No, just kidding. Just wondering if you guys have any questions so I can slow down. I'll wait for those who said yes. We could have the record of this webinar. Yes, you will. This and every training, every webinar is being recorded. I'll show you where to access the link. Can you go over again? Okay, let me stop the survey. I do have a couple of people saying we'll submit my question later, and or I'll type it. So the question was, can you go over again why the questionnaires don't work to the clients when we send them? Well, that's a broad question. When you say they don't work, there are multiple scenarios why they couldn't work, but I'll go over the most common ones. I know you had questions earlier, so let me read them again. It says, I have a question. When I send the questionnaire to my client, do I have to send the portal access first, or does it matter the order? Okay, let me pick a person who has no questionnaires. Okay. This is the hardest part of my job. Thinking of names. Joe Smith. Okay, let's create. See, this is a warning that I was talking about. Obviously, we do have a Joe Smith already, but I'll create a new one. Okay, I want to send Joe a questionnaire, and This is his email address, test.com. He has a cell phone, so I can also send the text message or WhatsApp. Anyway, so that's all I need. Joe is tech savvy. How do I know that? Well, I can send him a questionnaire before the consultation and ask these questions. Like I said, I want to get to know my clients better and say, are you computer savvy? Yes. Do you have a computer at home? Yes. Best way to contact you, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so you can create these questions too. All right, let's send him a questionnaire. I'm gonna click on create questionnaire. And so to answer your question, doesn't matter if I create access or when you try to send a questionnaire and this person has no client portal access, you'll have to create it no matter what. Look, if I say send questionnaire to Joe, see how it says create client user account? But it is required in order to send questionnaires, but I'm not forced to share those credentials or details. It says right here, we recommend that you uncheck when you send the passwordless link. So if I don't want them to access the portal, don't send them the username and password. If you don't want, just uncheck the box, but this is required. So the username could be something simple. I'll just say Joe1234. Actually, just Joe. And the password, I'll put 1234. The password, you could generate that automatically or uncheck the box and type the easy password. Okay, so now I save. This is what I was talking about. I'm not going to send them the questionnaires via portal, even though they're technically already there. But this client is not going to access the portal. He's going to use a passwordless link. So let's try that. My client speaks Spanish, so I know his preferred language is Spanish. And I know that the process that he's hiring us for is an adjustment of status. So based on the process, I can see the related questionnaires. So it's easier. I can select the questionnaire that I want to share. I'm going to pick, I don't know, just a few. And once I click save, see where it says creating and sending questionnaires checked? That means that he has access, but now I just need to notify him. This is when you send him a text message, an email, or copy paste into WhatsApp web or Teams or whatever you use. So let's say send him a text message, but I don't want to show my name. Just click here at the bottom. Hide my name. It's just from Law Office of Cerenade. And this is a link that he needs. Maybe I want to put something like in Spanish, favor de accesar este link para el cuestionario. Boom. And send. You have up to 1,000 characters. Now, last step. I recommend that you guys schedule a reminder, maybe once every 3 days, once a week, depending on the rush, email, text message, so that they get an email or a text message reminder about the questionnaires. Now, at this point, your client clicks on the link, he gets a code, he enters a code for security reasons, and he sees a questionnaire. There's no need for client portal access. I hope that answers your question. But I do want to clarify something. If Joe says, hey, Vanessa, I'm struggling with this code, I'm not accessing the questionnaire, help me. So what you can do is go to Joe's account, click on client access, and do share, send him an email with the credentials so that he knows, okay, here's a URL, username and password. When I send this, by the way, I don't have to send it in English. I could create my own template and provide the credentials in Spanish, like this one. Querido Joe, aquí le proporcionamos los datos. So I can provide the same thing. Just don't change the password or the username. The system auto-populates the tags. And I didn't enter his email address. Okay. Look, I have sent him access to his questionnaires and access to his portal. If I want to double check if he has access or not, number one, it says enabled for the client access. Number two, under the document section, there right here on the left, it says questionnaires and forms. I can see that all of these questionnaires have been created and he has access to them. Let's log in as Joe. I think it was Joe. Oh, see. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first time that Joe logs in. Your logo, by the way, can go here if you guys want to upload your logo. If this is the first time that someone accesses the client portal, we ask that they change their password. That's why I was saying just enter 1, 2, 3, 4. They're gonna change it anyways. So okay, let's log in. So client logs in into the client portal. I mean, I personally like to provide details anyways to their portal because if you guys are struggling with the questionnaires, it might be because the clients are not getting the code. I think this is easier because once they log in, look, I had chosen Spanish as a preferred language. It's really easy. They see the questionnaire and they can change it. So I'm just going to add a couple of things. Joe's date of birth and the city. Okay, so now that we have, well, now that he has entered data, he's going to either print, save, or send it to me. Once he submits, this questionnaire is gone. He can move to the next questionnaire or close and pick whatever he wants. I do want to show you this relatives questionnaire because I talked about this earlier today. He can provide, okay, he has a daughter. Her name is Stephanie Smith and female, and then I'll just pick her date of birth. Okay. Anyway, so just for you guys to understand, when someone adds data for the family members, they can keep adding as many family members as needed. Let's say he has a spouse, and the spouse is Maria. Gosh. Sorry, give me 1 second. Can I blame it on Friday? No. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Maria Juarez. Okay. So this is a spouse. He is the one typing information for his relatives, the daughter, the spouse, parents, etc. He is submitting to us, right? At this point, when someone submits a questionnaire, Cerenade emails you a notification. They don't have access to the same questionnaire anymore. That's important for you to know. Okay. Uh, let's switch gears. I'm going to take you back to your caseworker. Like as caseworkers, you guys see here on the top right an indicator. It tells me that I've got 2 items. It could be a form, it could be a questionnaire. I can see the name of the person, the questionnaire they sent, and the dates. Let's open them. Cerenade highlights the changes. So if you click, you can see what was there before, the value. You can accept or you can reject. I would reject it because pretty much everything's blank. So I can say, hey, Joe, you forgot to respond to most of the questionnaire. But for this exercise, I will accept. I want to show you what happens on your end. Once you accept the questionnaire, we let you know it was accepted successfully and you move to the next one. Again, this is a relatives questionnaire. Once I accept a relatives questionnaire, the system creates an account for those members. Take a look. They're already here. So if I go to Joe Smith account, all of the details that he typed are here. If I go to his members section, then the family members are here. Spouse, daughter, they have been linked as members. So that's how the questionnaires work. Let me know if you guys have questions about that. And I'm gonna read. Also, when I send the questionnaire to my client, they always say that they cannot log in, and it's because there is a time to expire the questionnaire. I heard they have 15 minutes to click on the link. Otherwise, it will expire and they don't have access. The link doesn't expire. I think what's happening is that the code that they are supposed to get, that one, the code has an expiration date for security reasons. So my advice, look, let's say Joe tells me, hey, the link didn't work. This is what you're going to do. Go to documents, go questionnaires and forms, and let's say he's struggling with his employment history questionnaire. You click here, select, share passwordless link. So you can share the link one more time. Or, as I said, maybe you want to share the client access, provide the credentials, and have him log in to see all the questionnaires. That might be easier, but the reason why the code expires is for secure reasons. Okay, I talked about that. I have a question to tracking. Give me 1 second, I'm reading the questions. They usually say that the link doesn't work when they click and it doesn't open. So maybe check with our support team if there's any other issue that could be causing them problems. But again, I don't think that we have a problem. Otherwise, we'll be getting a lot of calls or emails about that. Um, try with a client, just try with one client and see if that works. Having them log in or help them bookmark on their cell phone. They can pretty much respond to these questionnaires using their cell phone. Please don't forget to share where we could see again the webinar to learn because I'm an old girl and slowly to learn. Okay, don't worry. All of our questionnaires, look at me. I need another coffee. All of our webinars that we record are kept here. It's funny because today a client told me that the videos that we have in this channel are long. And I said, yeah, because these are the webinars. They're like an hour long. And he said that he has to skip the intro and the girl jiggling. Otherwise, he would punch. I'm like, I'm glad you didn't because it was me. Well, these videos are the webinar videos. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, obviously, the best approach is if you click on your user's guide and search for specific topics. For example, I want to learn about e-file. Well, I could watch the e-filing video, which is just about e-filing, or maybe I don't even want to watch a video. I want to follow step-by-step instructions. So show me what to do. So you guys have a user's guide available where you can find these videos or these webinars that we do on Fridays. We record them so you can watch the videos here. But you're gonna have to keep up with my jiggling my laugh. Okay. Please don't forget to share. This questionnaire is for the client to check if everything is correct in the application. The questionnaires vary. We have questionnaires that are, like a general information, questionnaires that cover history. But yes, the idea is that you provide the questionnaire so your client enters the information. Or if they're not tech savvy and you simply want to print a questionnaire, you can utilize the alternate view and say, okay, Joe, this is what we have received so far. Please write on a piece of paper. And then, you can print this. But yeah, you can utilize the questionnaires, like you said, for clients to know if everything's correct and have them confirm. All right, you're welcome. All right, let me continue with my presentation and let me make sure that I didn't forget anything. I'm gonna go over the resources and support. Yes, you'll have questions. It's normal. You're learning something new. We're here to help you. Please reach out. That's all we ask for. Reach out. You can call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you leave a voicemail, because we're all busy, but we'll call you back. Except on holidays, we're closed, but you can email us 24/7. That's our email address. On your home screen, on the top right corner, as I said, there's a question mark that says technical support. Send us a message so that we can also reach out and assist you. You may also send your feedback to developers. Anything you guys like or dislike, let them know so that they can improve the system. As I said, we have a user's guide. I put the link right here too. We do these webinars for free. I know that some of you asked about private training sessions. Again, the fee is 100 per hour, but you can access these webinars for free as many times as needed. Um, again, Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. We also have a podcast. It's called Serenade Snacks. We have a forum page on Facebook. You can join, just request permission. And we have the channel on YouTube called eIMMIGRATION Academy. So I hope that you can connect with Cerenade if there's any questions that you guys have. We appreciate your time and I hope you learned something new today. Before you go, uh, let me know if your questions were addressed before you disconnect. There's also going to be a survey. Now, I will stick around for a couple of minutes. If you have any follow-up questions or anything that wasn't answered, I can stay and answer the questions. So if you have to disconnect, on behalf of Serenade, thank you so much for attending the webinar and have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, just message me before you go. Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you. Have a good day. Please email me the record training to me. Yes, I will do that. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. Have a good weekend. Thank you, you too. Have a good weekend. My pleasure. Anyone else has any questions, please submit your message. All right, so I don't see any other questions coming through. I'm going to end the webinar. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. Bye-bye.